Be in focus! I'm here, camera, I'm here! Yay! Also, I need to clap for some sound. I really need a clapperboard, that hurts so badly. Right! Okay, this will all make sense in just a minute, I promise. Or as much sense as I usually make. Right. Hi, I'm Bex and welcome to Trista Bytes. This is my thank you Q&A video for 1,500 subscribers. It's my third Q&A. I think it's my third Q&A video, possibly, maybe. Should have checked that before I started this video. It was supposed to be a live Q&A streaming last Friday. However, computer says no, and it totally wasn't. So now my theory is if I do this video but don't edit anything, it's effectively like a live video. I will make all the mistakes and you can laugh at me for all the same reasons as a live video, however it actually will be on the internet rather than just my computer completely freaking out and crashing and then refusing to see my camera and everything else that happens when you have a terrible, terrible laptop that needed replacing several years ago. Right, so what I did was what I normally do, I stuck up a post on my social media, so anyone on the Trista Bytes Facebook, Twitter and Instagram could put up geeky questions for me on that post, and I've collated them into a list here on my phone, which keeps this turning off the screen, and I really should remember how to stop my phone from doing that, so apologies if I keep needing to unlock my phone again. Yeah, I've gathered the questions here. I've not really looked at them much, so we'll see how well this goes. Yay! I've put the Patreon's questions, is it patrons on Patreon? Or Patreons. Super nice people that are supporting me and helping me have a chance to keep doing this, because this all costs money and time and stuff and things, and the lovely people on Patreon and Ko-fi collated questions from a couple of them and put them first because that seemed like a good thing to do. So the first one is from Secret Ninja L. If you saw my last Q&A, one of my subscribers wants to remain anonymous, and because of that I put up a graphic with a ninja and I put the L from Death Note on it because his name begins with an L, and he's now referring to himself as Secret Ninja L, which is pretty damn cool. He says, you with 1,500 subs versus you with 1,000 subs. What has the journey been like? Compare and contrast. It's been quite a crazy journey, actually. The whole of YouTube has been a crazy journey. I started doing this, had no idea what I was doing, and it's only very, very recently I've started doing the putting a video every Friday and following a schedule and starting to find my feet a little bit with it. Life has been throwing, like, massive roadblocks covered in mines and spikes and stuff at me recently, so I have missed a couple of weeks, and I'm trying not to start videos by saying, hey, sorry I haven't been posting, but I have missed a couple of weeks, and like, life has been being life at me very much, but I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to keep on top of all the YouTube stuff, because YouTube is actually lovely and my community is lovely, and I never thought I'd be able to say I had a YouTube community. Like, I never thought I'd be able to say, like, I went to London Film and Comic Con and I think about 12 people came up and spoke to me, and that was awesome. It's like quadrupled my amount of friends in like 10 seconds. I wish I were joking there. Especially since I've been stuck at home a lot recently. But yeah, no, it's been awesome. It's been such a journey, and I've learnt so much, and the fact that I can now put up videos and hundreds of people will watch my videos about indie games and indie comics and might discover things they wouldn't discover before, and that's utterly incredible. Like, I can't believe I get to do that, and it's great. It's a tough journey. It's a very much an uphill journey. I've had so much more respect for, I mean, I already respected other YouTubers for the amount of work and effort and time they put in, but now even more so. I just, like, I mean, I can't believe I am where I am, and I can't believe that, like, how is this happening? How are people coming up to me and kind of recognising me at Comic-Con? That's just crazy, and it's lovely, and people are just so nice, and the people watching my stuff, all the comments I get, we get so few trolls and things in the comics for the Trista Bytes stuff, like on all the social media and things. I'm so lucky to have nice people watching my videos and commenting and wanting to be part of that community, so that's pretty awesome. And I think having a community and it growing and it staying so nice. And I'm hoping that if, you know, ever, well, it'll never happen, but if I ever got to like 10,000 subscribers or something, that we could maintain still having this awesome community of people. And I think that's as important to me as actually the videos themselves and what I'm doing. I don't think that remotely answered your question. I'm so sorry. Yay, one of my other patrons is Quang from Asobotech. You may know Asobotech from his kicking my ass at Tetris and various other things. He is an indie dev, and he says, if you could design a video game, what would it be about? I think it might be something animal based. I quite like cats. Maybe something cat based. A running cat maybe, or a flying cat. Maybe going to a destination. Maybe Meow Meow Fort would be good. No one's ever done that before. No, in all seriousness, if I was doing a video game, I'm kind of torn because the two things I like are so different. The things that always sort of interest me and get to me the most are either something which is like super retro, JRPG style, top-down, pixel art, epic story type stuff, or like crazy VR. So two totally different types of thing, really. I love kind of rhythm games, and I love massive story-driven games, and any games where you run around and move and VR. And it's just two totally different things. I can't choose between the two. I'm totally failing to answer your question. We're 2 questions in, and I think I've failed 2 for 2 so far. This is why I need editing people. If I could design a video game, what would it be about? Maybe something flying through space. Maybe I'll sort of slightly cheap out and steal a slight answer from my previous Q&A where I said it would be awesome to make Knights, the Sega Saturn game, in VR and fly. I don't know how it would work, but that would be pretty awesome. Something along those kind of lines, something movement-based, something flying with freedom and things, or something super retro. Moving swiftly on after I've failed 2 for 2 there, I've got some questions from Twitter. The first one is Russell, whose name is Flawsome80 on Twitter. Everyone has a game in their life they believe without question that they are the best at. What is yours? We know it's not Tetris. Well, that was a nice segue. Yeah, we know it's not Tetris. In my defence, I was exceedingly tired. That video was not designed to ever go on YouTube. And Quang is a Tetris champion, and I'd never played two-player Tetris before. Also, I am exceedingly awful at Tetris. I am not awful, however, at Soul Calibur. And I'm quite openly, I'll say when I'm rubbish at things, and I will also say when I'm good at things. And Soul Calibur is a game where I kicked Quang's ass on one of his birthdays at Arcade Club, which was when we filmed the Arcade Club interview and videos and stuff there. Super massive retro, like 3 floors now I think they've got of arcade games. Absolutely amazing. And I managed to defeat Quang utterly, and then we swapped sides and he realised several of my buttons didn't work on my side, and I'd still just been working around that limitation and utterly destroying him at Soul Calibur. But I've been like that the whole time. Like, since Soul Calibur came out on the Dreamcast, I used to play Winner Stays On around people's houses till 4 o'clock in the morning of much older people who were exceedingly good at computer games, and hold my own. And I used to go out clubbing when I was sneaking into clubs at sort of like 16 years old and so forth. I can't remember how old I was when Soul Calibur came out. I don't know, 16, 17, something like that. And they had Soul Calibur in one of the heavy metal clubs I used to sneak into. And I used to walk up and say kind of like, oh, can I have a go? And they'd kind of be like, oh yeah, what is this strange, probably purple-haired girl wants to have a go? And I would purposefully lose the first match in order to see what their fighting style was, and would then attempt to perfect them for the next 2 rounds. Normally I would kill people by killing them, then doing a throw, so I also threw them out the ring. Or if I had Ivy, my favourite thing to do, because I was a little shit when I was like a teenager, was to, in fact I still am now, this hasn't changed actually, kill people in Soul Calibur using Ivy, and then after they are already dead, when the animation is spinning round, you can use the sword, plunge it into the ground, and because it's a chainsword it comes out at another point on the stage, and you can basically, if you know what you're doing, because you do it all the time, you can make the sword go into the ground and out through your opponent's already dead corpse through the crotch about 5 times during that end animation, which is hysterical for me and quite brutal for the other person, especially if they were someone who were like, oh, it's a small teenage girl who doesn't know how to play computer games, and then I would murder them horribly and just be like, bye, and walk off. So definitely Soul Calibur, and I think anyone that's played me at Soul Calibur will agree with that one, to be honest. Anyone that's played me at Tetris, not so much. Magathri, I don't know how to say any names, I'm so sorry. Who would be your favourite Batman villain? Some of my Batman characters that I love are they're not completely villains, and a lot of the characters have kind of changed a lot over the years as well, so that's quite a tricky one. I do really like the villains who aren't really villains in the same way I like anti-heroes, and Batman in some ways is not a hero. So I like my kind of anti-heroes and anti-villains. So I'm going to say that pretty high up on there would be someone like Poison Ivy. I quite enjoyed the storylines between the two of them, because you can really sympathise with her motivations, and although she is an extremist in her views, and you can kind of see her point in a lot of ways, and I really enjoyed that, so the dichotomy and the kind of back and forth kind of I've lost my words. I enjoyed those two characters facing off, because both of them are very flawed characters in their own way. They have both gone to extremes to try and seek out and make true their kind of visions, and it's always interesting to see something where both sides think they're the good guy. Both sides think they're on the side of the greater good and justice, and they're both circumventing the law, and they're both doing things that are completely outside the law and what they should be doing, and they're both criminals in a lot of ways, but they both think they're doing something that's going to help save the city, save the world. So I do quite like villains like that, which aren't entirely villains. Got a few questions from Facebook. We've got Alan Sorden says, if you had to let someone else choose the design for a geeky tattoo to have done, oh, this is a dangerous one, but you could choose the fandom, what would it be from? Okay, so you got to choose a fandom where there's nothing... It depends who's choosing the tattoo, you see. If someone choosing design is someone that likes you, you could go for a lot of stuff. If you weren't sure they liked you, you'd have to stick with something that had no characters you didn't like in it, and no rubbish things you wouldn't want tattooed on you for life, because tattoos are not just for Christmas, that's pets, hang on. It would depend who was choosing the tattoo. If I could choose who was going to do the tattoo, and it had to be someone different than who currently does all of my current tattoos, I would actually take this opportunity to sort of pimp out Anna Quinn, who is a pro cosplayer and also does Anna Quinn tattoos now. And she only started tattooing, like, I'm going to say a year ago, I might be wrong there, but her stuff's awesome. I get to see her at the comic conventions, and she's crazy talented, and her tattoos are amazing. So if I was saying to her, you can do me a tattoo and you can choose the design, and I just gave her the fandom, there's so many things. I think I might actually go for Sailor Moon, because the iconography is stunning, and there's so many things you could do with it, and all the characters are good, and even all the bad guys look awesome. So yeah, I might go for Sailor Moon, actually. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind a Sailor. I mean, she does awesome kind of cat tattoos in general, so she could do me like a Luna and Artemis. I'm going to start getting ideas now. Now I need to stop talking about this. Troy Bonicia says, on the Itchy and Scratchy CD-ROM, is there a way to escape the dungeon without the wizard's key? I've seen that episode of The Simpsons. I think the answer is, why would a man whose t-shirt says genius be spending his whole life watching episodes of children's cartoons? Or does Homer just say, how the hell would I know? Something like that. We'll go with that. Awesome. That's a good episode of The Simpsons, back when The Simpsons was just consistently good. Stuart Harrison says, what? How many rims are there in the sky of the most famous game that has a dragon in it and is an RPG and has been updated for many years? I don't know. If it's been updated for many years and it's going to be a PC gaming thing, and we know full well my laptop doesn't say stayed on, let alone let me play any games. I almost got to stream Hyper Sentinel, the super awesome near retro styled shooter thing, but my laptop the screen went green. It didn't even blue screen, it went green, and then it died, and it turns out I can't do any live streaming from the laptop. Not when it comes to, I can't run Steam and OBS, basically. So I don't get to play, like, PC games. That's not a thing I get to do at the moment. I'm going to guess that's Skyrim or something, but I utterly do not know. Simon Ross, being a Marvel fan myself, if you could be any Marvel character, not gender specific, who would you be and why? Looks wise, it would just be easy. It would be Psylocke or Blink, because they're my two favourite like female Marvel characters, and I never have to buy hair dye again. And the battery pack ran out. Professionalism, yay. Okay, I need to clap to resync the sound. Ow, I need a clapperboard. So what was I saying? I don't know how much of that last bit was on camera, but basically it came down to Psylocke or Blink. They're two of my favourite characters, and I wouldn't have to buy hair dye again, which would be awesome. I just have awesome hair all the time. That's the lamest reason ever, but never mind, I'm going with it because it's too late and I said I wasn't going to be editing this, and I've lost my place on the list. Michael Collette says, top 5 badass moments in comic books. That's an insanely hard question. Anything in The Dark Knight Returns? Is that a real cop-out? Does that count as one? Anything in that? There's a bit in Lobo Mask where they're riding on top of a car. I just remember that shot. It's like kind of like, I think it's a half-page spread, and it's like Lobo Mask like on top of this car and like just flying through, like sort of destroying everything in its path. I remember that. That's pretty badass. There was a storyline which might have been written by Ellis, which was, I think it was drawn by Joe Modernia, the guy whose name no one can pronounce, who's a really awesome artist that was an X-Men for a bit in like the super early 90s. With the anime style with the really big hands and really angular sort of anime-inspired faces and things. And there's a storyline where Storm's still in charge of the Morlocks technically at that point, but she's kind of lapsed on her duties and just been too busy. I think she's also leading the X-Men. So she's totally lapsed on taking care of the Morlocks, and Marrow has come back. I think that's just after they've been in a pocket dimension. Marrow's come back and is trying to get the Morlocks and other people into a terrorist kind of cell, and Storm basically has to stop her, and she's like I think she's got loads of civilians with like bombs all strapped to them, and she's just been like just generally doing things that Storm doesn't approve of. So Storm rips her heart out with her bare hand. It's insane. It's one of those moments where you turn the page in your comic book and you go, what the hell? And it was an incredible panel of artwork as well, because it was the silhouette of Storm, and I think it was just the white shock of her hair, and then the red of the blood coming off the heart that she was holding, and the rest of her was just all in silhouette. And Marrow hadn't even entirely fallen to the ground. It was just like, oh my god, that's insane. That was a badass moment. It was pretty out of character for Storm, I have to say, but it was super badass. My phone's turned off again. What else? The Death miniseries, the Sandman spin-off. I think it's kind of badass, but you've got that bit at the beginning. I think it might be the first few panels of the first comic for the spin-off. Someone correct me. I haven't read it in years. Where there's the guy who sort of stands up next to a fallen down wall and goes, phew, that was a lucky escape, and then Death's just standing there and he's like, ah, nuts. And he complains that he hasn't had enough time, because I think he says he only had 200 or 400 years or something, and it wasn't enough, and she just says, you get what everyone gets, you get a lifetime. She's so cool. I totally wanted to be her as a teenager, as you can well imagine. What else is there? Morrison's X-Men, where they actually made Cyclops cool, because Magneto was pretending to be someone else, and then they fought him, and eventually Wolverine just like tears his limbs off or his head off even, and but that's just Wolverine, so he's just badass all the time. But I think Cyclops just asks him a question, and then before he can answer, just lasers him in the face, which was just ridiculous and insane. What else? There was something else I was about to say before I thought of that. Who was it in Avengers? One of the Avengers comics, and it was one of the first times the Carnage was ever in Avengers, and a character with very Superman type powers, you know, he's a relationship to Superman, I've forgotten. I want to say Sentinel, it's Sentry, right? He just takes Carnage, goes up into space, and like rips him physically, literally in half. That's pretty insane. That counts as a top. I've lost count. Was that 5 or 6? There are many moments. What a difficult question, man. These are hard. And I've lost my place again. Type 5 badass moments in comic books. I think I answered that. Awesome. Craig Fisher says, if you could merge 3 superhero villains to make one ultimate god, who would you choose and why? It depends. If I wanted to be efficient and destroy the world, then it would be like Thanos, Galactus, and Brainiac. That's what you do if you want to destroy the world. That would be just instant world destruction, though. That wouldn't actually be the most fun comic book to read. If I wanted to make it fun, it would be... Oh, I mentioned Carnage earlier, and I love Carnage. Carnage, Loki, and Lobo. So Lobo's functionally immortal and super cool and aggressive. Loki's really intelligent and magic. And Carnage is Carnage. It'd take them quite a long time to destroy the world, but it'd be really entertaining to read. So yeah, 2 answers. I always have more than one answer for these things, I'm so sorry. Favourite cosplay you've seen and one you've done yourself. I've not done many cosplays myself. I think for me though, the worst one is probably my favourite because I dressed in a sort of Lara Croft-ish costume when I was out in Hawaii and got photos by my mates in front of waterfalls in Hawaii on an island where they filmed the introduction to Raiders of the Lost Ark, that big mountain range that's the very first sort of few seconds of Raiders was there, and also bits of Jurassic Park were filmed there. So that was just awesome. And someone like yelled as well, like when I was standing in front of a waterfall, she looks a bit like Lara Croft, and I was just like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Obviously it was a very incomplete costume because I could not take or wear a wig. I just had to kind of desaturate my hair a bit to make it a bit more brown, less blue. I couldn't wear a wig in that heat. And I couldn't take plastic guns with me on a plane to Hawaii because that would have gone very badly through airport security. So it was just kind of a Lara Croft-ish costume, but yeah, it was fun, and I got completely drenched in waterfalls, so that was cool. Favourite cosplay I've seen? Oh, there's so many. I have so many like amazing cosplay friends. I could try and like put the word out there for Nodge cosplay, who's one of my best mates. NOJ cosplay, and the armour he makes, the detail, like his Destiny armour and stuff. Oh my god, it's crazy. And like having seen it been put together, I have even more respect for it because it's just he spends so much time in these costumes. That's pretty awesome. There's also a lady whose name I've totally forgotten, Maisie Minx, I think, who makes this ginormous Warhammer suit, but it's Harley Quinn, and that's something she wears those the MTM Comic Cons. I think there's pictures, old pictures of me and her from old Comic Cons, and yeah, that's an awesome cosplay as well. So again, more than one answer. Ben Emberley says, have you any more plans for your next tattoo? Or any plans for your next tattoo? I say more. I'm already like Freudian slip because I'm not supposed to be getting any more tattoos. I'm supposed to just be finishing the one I've got because the whole point was to get one giant tattoo that covers most of my body and just be like, that's it, now I've got one. I don't want to get lots of different ones. I want to just have one giant continuous tattoo. And of course, like, I'm still finishing this one. I'm not supposed to be making plans for more, but obviously I keep thinking of more things I want because that's how tattoos work. And now you've had a tattoo question already in this Q&A, and now I'm thinking like, oh my god, a Luna done by Anna would be awesome. So it's like, yeah, theoretically no plans, but let's see what I say on my next Q&A. Okay, we're down to some Instagram questions now. Lazy Photographer 88, good name. I have just one question. Would anyone like any toast? Yes. Gluten-free with Marmite. Or banana. Gluten-free toast with banana on toast. Yes. Rhodes Steve P. Imagine you have a magic elevator lift that can take you to 3 different places, worlds or times. What would your choices be? Oh, that's insane. An elevator or a lift. I'm going to kind of think of it in my mind like a TARDIS because that kind of works for me. Where would I go? Go to Asgard and marry Loki because I'm predictable. Wouldn't have to marry me, but you know. Anyway, go to Asgard and something Loki. Where else would I go? I would really love to go somewhere in space and just sit and look at some incredible space phenomena, like sit and look at an entire galaxy and just have that feeling of scale and see the beauty of the universe, that no matter what's going on in your own little world, in your head, in your personal life, in these small bubbles that we're stuck in and how difficult things can be, that actually the world's amazing and huge and the universe is amazing and there's always going to be beauty in it no matter what's kind of currently happening. And like, that's way too deep. So yeah, go something low-key on Asgard. Go and look at something in space. Where else would I go? I've always had a fascination with ancient Egypt, and at one point I kind of wanted to be an archaeologist. So I think ancient Egypt would be somewhere I would love to visit. I'd love to see all the technology that they had, because they didn't just use like hordes of people to drag rocks across the desert to make pyramids. They had all kinds of wood-built, water-running technology, because there was way more water than I was, much bigger. And I've seen lots of programmes kind of theorising and trying to put together from evidence like what they actually had for technology, and it's all really fascinating. Plus I could prove once and for all whether or not like the pyramids were made by spaceships, and that would be awesome. And I could just make I get all the YouTube views if I could prove that either way, if I could take a camera back to ancient Egypt, so that would be fun. Alex Wingy Smith. Oh, Wingy, hello. Yes, for those that don't know, Wingy does an awesome, primarily Doctor Who based YouTube channel, and yeah, he's brilliant. Go and check out Wingy. He says, "Congrats on the milestone." Thank you. If you could be one fictional character, who would you be and why? Oh, that's a difficult one. There's so many. I tend to gravitate towards the same characters each time. I so play favourites, but I would probably be Lobo. The freedom to travel around space, to know that neither heaven nor hell will have you, so you're functionally immortal, and you can do what you like and just listen to heavy metal and adventure, and that would be cool. I'd love to be. Obviously, Wingy, Doctor Who. I would like to be Doctor Who, but it sounds like too much responsibility. If you didn't have to save anyone, then Doctor Who. If you did have to save people, you were Doctor Who, then Lobo. I'd basically rather be a hitman than a save. That doesn't say very good things about me. Oh dear. Zachalus 1. Hello, Zach. Sorry I missed you at London Film and Comic Con. I don't know how we managed that. My question is, what game did you really enjoy completing, past or present, and were you thrilled to the moon? Oh goodness, the games I'm most thrilled by completing tend to be the story-driven ones, so it's going to go back to the RPGs I played when I was younger, and because I don't have enough time to play big massive JRPGs nowadays. I wish I did, man, I wish I did. But the epic story-driven games are the ones that really kind of made me happy and made me just sort of enjoy the journey the most. So maybe Luna Silver Star Story, because that's an incredible mix of retro and the cutscenes are beautiful anime style animations, and it's a really, really stunning, beautiful game. So Luna Silver Star Story is probably one of the ones that I would put way up there on enjoying completing. Oh, that's actually one answer, that's good. Mr. Grimes Real, who I met at Play Expo, super cool. Thank you for coming up and talking to me and taking a picture with me. You're awesome, dude. Hey Trista, hey! Let's imagine there's no copyright restrictions. If you could write and direct your own crossover movie event, which characters would you choose, and how would it be different from any other film that's out there? It would probably be a film that was just basically for my own usage and never to be released by anyone ever, because like if you'd like just given me the ability to make any crossover film I want, it's just going to be something with like Natalie Dormer and Tom Hiddleston and like everyone else I fancy in a room, and it's just, I should not be allowed to direct a crossover movie. It's basically where I'm going with this. What else would I want to do if it wasn't just basically making porn? Oh goodness, bits of this are going to be taken out of context. I really need editing and to have read these questions beforehand. If it wasn't me just trying to make footage of me and Tom Hiddleston and Natalie Dormer and never showing it to anyone ever, and it was actually a movie, I might... what would I do? What would be cool and no one else would do? Maybe make some kind of movie which was a Doctor Who and Star Trek The Next Generation crossover, where Q can be the companion for a Doctor Who epic movie. Like Q's powers and the Doctor's powers. That would be amazing. That should be a mini-series. I mean, it's not a movie. I failed answering this question. That should be a thing though. Q being the annoying, omnipotent companion to the Doctor. That would be brilliant, man. Chris Russ 1 says, if you could appear in any superhero series, what would it be? A lot of the series I love are really dystopian and terrible, and therefore I wouldn't want to be in them. Like, I love Transmetropolitan, To the End of the Earth, but I don't necessarily want to live in that world. what would I want to be in? Something nicer, something slightly friendlier, or just something crazier. If I could be Lady Deadpool, I'd want to be in Deadpool. Or if I could just be Deadpool's pet cat. Could I be Deadpool's kind of like unkillable mutant cat? That would be cool. That almost answers the question. I'm getting better at this. Tempest Sketchpad says, what sound or noise do you love? Apart from the ones that will be in my crossover movie I'm not allowed to make. That's a difficult question. How am I supposed... What sound or noise am I... I could be... I think it's probably something quite lame, like somebody shouting out my name and saying hello at a Comic-Con, because that kind of like doubles the amount of friends I have. Oh, that sounds really terrible. The sound of my enemies falling to the floor and their last embarrassed, humiliated screams in Soul Calibur when I have defeated them. We'll go with that. The sheer surprise and anger that they make. Yes. Laura Gabrielle Rocks, who is an artist, I recommend checking her out on Instagram. Tell me something you learned this week. I learned this week. Okay, well, I did learn something that was quite crazy, which is that I've been a vegetarian my entire life, my family is vegetarian, and I decided to eat a piece of meat this week. I was curious, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do this and just see what this is like, because I've never done this. But I don't know much about meat and fish and things, and the thing I was curious about was a piece of salmon sushi, which apparently I've now been told is a weird thing for people that eat meat to eat. So I've sort of gone in the deep end, I guess, there by choosing something quite obscure. But I tried a piece of salmon from the sushi to see what it tasted like, and I was like, yeah, this is like a crazy thing for me to do. I've never eaten this in my entire life, and it's weird and unusual, and it's going to be this new, hopefully exciting taste, and it's going to be something, it's like, oh, I'm going to be telling people I've done this, and it's crazy. And then it was just a flibbery piece of disappointment. Like, what? Like, it tasted of nothing. Like, what's that about? It wasn't even that salty. I thought it was going to be really strong tasting. I don't know, because people always have, like, salmon and smoked salmon, or that's probably completely different. I know nothing about these things, but yeah, I had this piece of salmon and it just tasted of nothing, and it was just flibbery disappointment. It tasted like someone who tried to make a jelly sweet and not quite got the mixture right and forgot to put any flavourings or colourings in it. It was rubbish. It was so anticlimactic, and then it was just kind of weird and squidgy and tasted of nothing, and I was just like, but I thought this was a big thing. This is like some crazy thing I've done, and it's just basically a weird squidgy bit of nothing. And then I felt bad, because I was like, you're no longer swimming around in the sea because you've been turned into a big, like, flibbery bit of, like, disappointing nothingness. What's the point in that? Like, I don't know, is other meat and fish and stuff better than that? Because that was really rubbish. I just, like, was like, oh, I had to psych myself up to do it because I've never eaten any meat or fish in my life, and then I was just like, well, just weird and squidgy, and I don't get it. And I don't know. I learned that salmon sushi is flibbery disappointment. That's what I learned, Laura. Let's Say We Spoil You, who's another YouTuber. She does lots of stuff with anime, and she's like, yeah, I went to uni with her, so check out Let's Say We Spoil You. She's awesome. She says, who would win in a fight, Battle Angel Alita or Armitage the Third? Well, if you can take into account the animation, directing and storyline, then, you know, Battle Angel Alita is going to win every single time, because Armitage the Third is awful. I had to cut so much out of my video laying into that series. It is such a bad anime series, and it's not just even aged badly, it's just that we were too young to realise it was crap when we were watching it the first time round. It's so bad, and Armitage the Third herself is just rubbish. She's a rubbish cop. She just lets people, like, go away. She doesn't even capture the bad guys half the time. She's just cool because the script said she should be cool. She's not even that good a fighter. The only reason she's kind of cool at the end is because they stuck cool wings on her because it looked cool, because they needed a climax to the end of the thing. She's rubbish. Whereas Battle Angel Alita is, like, presented as if she's almost a kind of doe-eyed Dolly type character, and then she completely subverts expectations and goes off on her own, and she's independent and strong-willed, and she doesn't follow the paths around her that people want her to, and she completely subverts a trope, and she's like awesome, and she's way more kick-ass than Armitage. So that's that. Yeah, Alita every time. Housinger says, do I have to come to London first for us to meet? I'm sorry, I can't afford to get to the events outside London. I've got no car anymore, my car broke, and I can't afford transport, and I can't afford hotels, so I'm kind of stuck at just the London events. We have so many London events that's kind of keeping me busy pretty awesomely. But I would love to start coming to stuff out of London. I'm really sorry that I've not been able to do that, hardly at all. I managed it a couple of times. I went to Reading, and I've been to a couple of bits and pieces, but it's really difficult. I'm sorry. If you come to any London events, just message me and I will make an effort to come and say hi. Gashead Steve, good name, says quick fire round, and then a huge list of questions. I said one question. This is sort of cheating, but I'm going to let you get away with it because you're the last one on the list. Okay, quick fire round. Right. Red or blue? I can't remember which is which. I've not seen that movie in such a long time, and it just rips off Dark City and Matrix and Ghost in the Shell. Anyway, Matrix is just a rip-off of Ghost in the Shell crossed with Dark City, and I haven't watched it in ages. It is a cool movie. I did really like that movie, but I can't remember which is which, or red or blue, so I'm just going to say blue for no apparent reason. That wasn't very quick of an answer. Mario or Sonic? Sonic, because I owned Sega consoles. Sega was one of the things. Sega and Atari, like, were one of the things I owned. I played Mario around at other people's houses, and my brother had Mario games. He had the SNES, I had the Mega Drive. So yeah, Sonic all day long. Marvel or DC? Marvel was the one that got me into comics, or into mainstream comics anyway. X-Men. X-Men was my first comic that really got me into comics, so Marvel. Boys or girls? There's no context for that question. I'm gonna go with gender is irrelevant, so it doesn't really matter what the question is. The answer is either. Daddy or chips? That question sounds familiar. Should I know where that's from? I do. I'm from a single parent family, so I'm going to say chips. 80s action or today's action films? That's not a question. 80s action films, man. No contest. Big or small? I'm small, so I'll go with small. City or the country? The city's where all the cool stuff happens, but I could never live in the middle of a city. If anything, I'd like to live further out in the country. But as long as I can travel to the city, then that's cool. If I had the aforementioned no longer existing car, then further out in the countryside. Currently within range of public transport to get into the city is my ideal. But yeah, I also need quiet and adventures, and I love castles. So yeah, this is supposed to be quick fire. Karen. Hot or cold? Hot. Why would anyone want cold anything? I'm allergic to ice cream, so I don't need cold anything. No, hot. Weather and people and everything. No. Cold is bad. There's no good cold. There's only good hot. Games or movies? Movies are becoming like mainstream movies are becoming quite formulaic, and games are becoming like awesome interactive movies. Everything's merging, and then VR is like, this is supposed to be quickfire. Games? Movies? No. Movies. Okay. And lastly, who would win in a fight? Mario, Sparkster, Sonic, Donkey Kong, Nathan Drake, or Princess Peach? And how? I'm going to go with Princess Peach, because I've watched a cool video by a YouTube channel I've forgotten the name of because I didn't read these questions in advance, where they explained the history behind Princess Peach and also Peach in Asian legend and how it supposedly grants immortality and things. So I think she's secretly a badass who's just into S&M and likes getting kidnapped. And she, like, underneath those petticoats, like, she has like all these like weapons and RPGs and things. And yeah, Princess Peach, I think she would use a massive amount of arsenals and semi-automatic guns and stuff that she has hidden in the lining of her like regal looking dress, and she would murder everyone brutally. And that is all of the questions that we have. Oh, before I forget, there's a MCM, which was just after my birthday. My birthday's the beginning of May. Dan Churchman, who's also, I hope doesn't mind me mentioning his name, he came up to me and he gave me a birthday present, and I still haven't opened the birthday present. I thought, well, this bit wasn't wrapped. So he gave me a copy, which is, from everything I can tell and have researched, this is the best copy of Laputa Castle in the Sky by Studio Ghibli you can currently buy in the UK. It is by Optimum Asia. It has subtitles, not dub titles. To get a lot of releases of Japanese stuff, they have the subtitles are actually just the English audio track in subtitle. They're like hard of hearing subtitles without the direction stuff, and that's rubbish, obviously. But these subtitles, and from what I can tell from watching it, I spotted only 2 mistakes in the subtitles. My Japanese isn't perfect, so there may be more, but this is probably the best copy of Laputa Castle in the Sky I've ever seen in my life, and it's in Blu-ray, and I didn't have a copy of it on Blu-ray, I just had an old DVD from long before they had licensing to release it over here, which had terrible subtitles, I just used to watch it without. So this is amazing, because this is the film I named as the most influential film of my life in my last Q&A. So being handed this as a birthday present was just, it's one of the best presents I've ever been given, so thank you. I have watched it, and I don't watch it very often because it's too important, but I have watched this copy, and it's amazing. It's one of the few films that actually like affects me emotionally, because it's that important to me that it can actually make me, just the sound of the music on the piano can make me kind of well up a bit, because this film is so important to me, so thank you. And also he gave me this as well, which I haven't opened. I did take the sticky tape off it because that took me like half an hour, because I can't open packaging and I did not want to spend all of this video trying to open packaging, but I haven't actually opened the thing, so I shall open the thing. It's like I've already taken the sticky tape off because I'm so bad with packaging, and I'm still failing to open 2 pieces of styrofoam. Oh! Oh, it's another Laputa item. It is a Laputa mug. It's a Castle in the Sky mug. Really nice saturation on this print, actually. It is a Laputa Castle in the Sky mug to go with my Blu-ray. That's so awesome. Super late for opening a birthday present. There's a note in it. Oh, I thought the note might be from Dan, but the note says, "Thank you for your custom, Sue." So I think that's thanking Dan for his custom. Yay! Thank you! Oh my god, that's so cool, that's amazing. So I think I've done all the questions. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. I will do another Q&A when I hit 2,000 subscribers. But that's it. I think I've covered everything. I think that is cool. If you enjoyed this video, please do the subscribing, and I'm supposed to say smash the bell, apparently. That's the thing. It sounds like a euphemism to me. I don't like it. Click the bell, and comment if you can remember any of the names of the things I was trying to talk about, or the names of the storylines like I was trying to talk about from X-Men and things, and you can put those in the comments for me, because I can't remember half the things, and it'd be awesome if you know what they are. Or if you like want to tell me, like, what would your crossover movie be? What would you make as a crossover movie? I'd be interested to hear yours and how much better they are than my attempt. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me, and like my Patreons are absolutely amazing, and the people that have sent me money over Ko-fi and letting me continue to do this, you guys are amazing, and just all the indie dev guys and all the indie comic book guys that talk to me and let me make videos with them, like, you guys rock. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!